Well, I grew up in the village, and in a household where there was a lot of violence. So there was a lot of, especially my dad being violent towards my mom and towards us. But then also grew up in a very beautiful part of the world, where the sun shines, it's green, there's trees, there's fruits falling from trees, there's antelopes running around, there's rivers. I mean, nature was just so kind to us. And also in between Mount Kenya and Aberdare, so an extremely beautiful part of the world, where people say life started, and I would never argue with anyone that says that's where life started. So that was an interesting experience. So inside the house, you experience a different kind of nature, like a nature that is very quick to cross boundaries, actually, and quick to harm, quick to ignore, to the point where I thought a lot of my solace outside. Outside is where I would play with, I would still harm some animals. I'd play with animals. We'd go to the rivers, we'd walk up the forest, we'd just experience that nature. And I was also a very smart child. I was very smart. So if I was number 2, that was a problem, especially if I went to Alliance and found some other smart children.
Wow.
So that was, and that gave me a lot of confidence in my abilities. So I always felt like my mind can get me out of anything. If I put myself to it, I'll figure a way out. So that was kind of like it's a very balanced childhood. And I had a mom who was very, very, very dedicated to making sure that our minds had a space to learn and grow. So that was her focus, actually. It was academics. She made sure we never went to school without school fees. And that was her one thing. She's like, if you're going to school, you'll have school fees. Everything else, you'll figure it out.
Wow.
And that meant she sometimes had to disappear during the holidays and go and sell clothes and just try and make this work for us. I'm very grateful that she did that, because she saw my biggest asset. She was like, your mind needs to go places. And and it did go places. I mean, I eventually went to Alliance, then, I went to MIT, I worked in Morgan Stanley, I worked in Hong Kong, I've built a company across Africa. So my mind has been everywhere. And I'm just grateful that my mom at least made sure that my dad was going to have me pick tea the rest of my life. Maybe I'd have 10 children. Maybe I'd be happier. Who knows?